Can Zhen Huan, blessed with both beauty and talent, truly outshine all in the imperial harem and enjoy everlasting favor? It was improper to keep the emperor waiting. It violated the etiquette of meeting him. Seeing Xuanling sitting alone, looking rather troubled, I softly called out to him, "Fourth brother." Seeing me, Xuanling's expression lightened. "Huan, did you sleep well?" I replied with concern. "Thank you for your care, Your Majesty. I'm just worried that sleeping too deeply might not be good." "I know. Your attendant came early this morning to report to me and the Empress. From today on, I will have someone pay close attention to your medicine and meals. Such sinister incidents must not happen again." His voice carried a hint of icy chill in the last few sentences. The toxic rivalry in the harem is beyond my expectations. As for Hua Sui and Xiao Yinzi, I have ordered them to be taken to the execution ground. And regarding Yu Gangyi, I have decreed her to be banished to the cold palace for life. Huan, you no longer need to be afraid. The emperor indeed showed mercy. Remembering the past, I felt both anxious and sorrowful, and knelt down again weeping. Huan has always been weak and non-confrontational. It was unintended to offend Yu Gangyi, which led to so many people's deaths. Huan is deeply sinful and does not deserve the emperor's grace. The emperor helped me up gently. "You are worrying too much. You are an innocent victim who has been frightened repeatedly. Please do not cry and harm your health." Tears streaming down my face, I refused to rise, leaning forward. On New Year's Eve, Huan prayed for blessings, hoping for understanding in adversity and to not be harshly treated. Yet heaven did not fulfill my wishes. I stopped there intentionally, looking at Xianling sobbing softly. His expression changed dramatically, and he abruptly pulled me up, asking, Huan, what wish did you make? Where did you make it?" Pretending to be confused, I mumbled, "In the May Garden," hoping for understanding in adversity and not to be harshly treated. I carefully watched his reaction, adding, "That night, Huan also accidentally wet her shoes and socks in the snow." Xianling frowned slightly and looked into my eyes, asking, "Did you meet anyone then?" I looked at him in surprise, not avoiding his gaze. How did fourth brother know that Huan met a stranger in the garden that night? "Since I was ill and it's improper for men and women to have contact," I lied, claiming to be a palace maid to get away. Realizing suddenly, I gasped, "Could it be that man that night?" I knelt down in fear. This concubine truly did not know it was the emperor. "I have been disrespectful, please forgive me." I continued crying. Xianling embraced me, his hands unintentionally tightening around my arms in his agitation, causing a slight pain. "So it was you. I mistook someone else for you." Pretending to be confused, I asked, "What are you saying about someone else?" Xianling called for his personal attendant Li Chang. "Convey my decree. Yu Gangyi of the Cold Palace, for deceiving the emperor and poisoning concubines, is granted death." Li Chang, seeing the emperor change his decision suddenly, dared not question and bowed before leaving to deliver the decree. Pretending to be puzzled, I asked, "What happened? Why suddenly grant death to Yu Gangyi?" Xianling's expression turned cold instantly. She deceived the emperor, daring to claim she was the one who spoke with me in May Garden that day. She must have been eavesdropping to vaguely repeat some of our conversation. But she couldn't recall the phrase, hoping for understanding in adversity and not to be harshly treated, and pushed the blame onto nervousness. His tone was chilling. "She has repeatedly disrespected her superiors, and I have spared her considering past affections. Now there is no forgiveness." I hastily pleaded for mercy. Yu Gangyi's many faults are due to her admiration for the emperor. Moreover, this matter ultimately originated from me, so I beseech the emperor to be lenient with Yu Gangyi. Xianling sighed. "You are always too kind. Despite her harming you, you still plead for her." I felt a twinge of guilt, for Yu Gangyi's life was ultimately in my hands, and I couldn't help but tear up. "I hope the emperor will grant this. I understand your feelings, but there are no jokes with the emperor's words, and Yu Gangyi's crimes are unforgivable. However, since you plead for her, I will allow her body to be returned to her family after death." I bowed deeply again. "Thank you, Emperor." With the matter resolved, both Xianling and I let out a sigh of relief. He held my hand, and although my face grew hotter, I dared not pull away, allowing him to keep his hold. Xianling casually mentioned with a smile. Speaking of praying for blessings in the May garden that day, did you bring any cherished item with you? Like a sachet, a fan pendant, or a beaded flower? Seeing him ask as if he had no idea about the small amulet I had that day, and knowing it wasn't in his possession, I felt slightly puzzled but didn't dwell on it. I simply replied, "It was just a trinket favored by women. If fourth brother likes it, Huan can make another one." Xianling smiled lightly. "You must have been frightened by this ordeal. If you wish to make it, wait until your heart is at ease." His gaze lingered on my face, squeezing my hand gently. "We have a long future ahead, no need to rush." Hearing him say a long future ahead, my heart softened, sweet as honey, as if a gentle hand had caressed my heart, bringing a tender soreness to my eyes. I softly called him, "Fourth brother." Xianling embraced me, staying silent in the quiet. Silver gilt incense balls hung from the painted beams, engraved with intricate patterns, casting golden and silver glows, diffusing fragrance throughout the hall. The sound of rustling wind was clear outside the window. After a while he softly said, "I'll stay with you today." Blushing, I whispered, Huan is not in good health." Xianling chuckled softly. "Can't I stay to dine and talk with you?" After sharing a meal, Xianling said, "There are some state affairs I must attend to. Rest now, I'll visit you tomorrow." I stood up to see Xianling off, watching him until he was out of sight, then slowly returned to the warmth of the inner chamber to calm my heart. I summoned Jin Shi and asked, "Are palace maids and eunuchs who die usually taken to the mass burial ground?" Jin Shi looked somewhat saddened and softly replied, "Yes." Knowing she was reminded of painful memories, I sighed. I didn't wish for Hua Sui and Xiao Yinzi's lives. Sending them to the penal colony would have been enough. But the emperor decreed otherwise, and there was nothing I could do. Jin Shi said, "They brought it upon themselves." I straightened my clothes and said, "That may be, but I still can't help feeling compassionate. Take some silver and arrange for someone to collect the bodies of Hua Sui and Xiao Yinzi, and buy 2 coffins to give them a proper burial. After all, they served me for a time." Jin Shi was momentarily stunned, as if she hadn't expected such an order, then quickly responded, "Your kindness is profound, my lady. I will make sure it is done." I waved her off, my voice tinged with weariness. "You may go. I'm tired and need some rest alone."
Follow us to avoid getting lost and enjoy endless exciting stories. For more content, please go to the Story Wall homepage to view more exciting novels.